Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is one of our very own success stories. Nikkesh Garera is the winner of 2015 Demo Day and his idea of eventside.com, which is a huge success featuring events of all cities. Basically, this is your one-stop destination to know every happening in a particular city. And we are proud to have him here today with us to share with us his experiences. So without any further ado, please put your hands together and let's welcome on stage Nikkesh Garera.
All right. Uh, let's start with hi. Louder, louder. I know it's before lunch, but one more time. Okay. So this is my pitch. Uh, okay, I'll try it. Okay, but it's much harder this time because there are 10 demo day winners, 10 lakhs. Last when we won, we only got 1 lakh. So all right. How many of you are entrepreneurs here? Or let's say, first of all, want to be entrepreneurs? Oh, wow. Okay. That's like 50%. Okay. Then, how many of are already like, have an idea and are working on it? Okay. And let's say out of that, how many of you have customers, paying customers, not just customers? Okay. All right. Okay. And okay. So I think we have good. I guess from there on, the journey kind of goes on, right? So okay. Basically we pitched in the first demo day, and it kind of started. I mean, so events high. We got a brief. We have kind of done some growth, some kind of sort of success, and kind of seen some of a cycle of starting from an idea and going all the way, and recently we got acquired and so on. So we'll share some stories, and hopefully you'll pick up some things on the way from there. Even the first thing itself, when we kind of came to demo day, we came in as a wild card entry. We did not know it was happening. We actually came to know from event side that there is an event happening and we should pitch. And we pitched it. The deadline was way past, and kind of everything that could go wrong. But we ended up reaching there. And even during the process of, it was a very rigorous process. You had to submit the PPT, you had to make iterations of it, then you go and present to Vivek and Salma and again and all of that. And going from all of that, and everything had a deadline, and which I would always invariably miss. And but still, I think that whole process of going through that rigor and getting your deck up ready really helped us shape and think about the business. And from there on, after winning itself, I mean, there were many places where we got connected to and so on, and we're always there. And of course, Startups Club also has grown like crazy from then on. So thank you, first of all. Let's start with, so now when you are running a business, the one thing that you don't have is time, right? When you're now not running the business, what you have is time. So I was just kind of spending some more time with my kids over the weekend, and I came across this book, which is Dr. Seuss, right? So I thought when I was reading it to my children, it kind of felt a very apt way of the journey of events hype. So we'll kind of take that and follow it along. So all the people who are wannabe entrepreneurs and just started journey and who are pitching there for the first, for the finalists today, so congratulations, you've reached here. So today is your day, right? And trust me, it's going to be a hell of a journey, but the first few days, months are always exciting. So I'll just bear with me here. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. So this is where you're kind of figuring out, a lot of wannabe entrepreneurs. This is a phrase, in our journey it was called market research, right? So you're trying to understand, okay, what market should I go on? Is it too big? What's the TAM? What is the revenue potentialities? What is the competition like? All of that. There's a whole phrase that goes on over here. Definitely go for very, very big markets. Don't play any kind of small game, right? Make sure that if you win big, right? Uh, and when you're doing market research, you will look up and down the streets, look them over with care. About some, you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down a not so good street. So this is where you start evaluating your ideas, right? You do your market research, okay, these are few good markets which could look to you. Then you look at your strengths, your co-founder's strengths, what are you good at? That's very important. You should not, like for us, of course, we came from tech world. I kind of come from working in Silicon Valley, just been always in the tech industry. So we were thinking of where we can use that edge. And then what is the moat? What is your business's moat? So largely when you're pitching to investors, that's what we understood. This is what they will look at. They will look at what's your market, how big is it? They will look at what is your team, what is your strength, and they will look at how do you differentiate, right? How do you have some advantage against competitors or potential competitors? Beyond that, they don't know much. Beyond that, even you don't know much. It's like, for example, today there's a cricket match happening, and so there was a spinner, right, who nobody could read them, right? And then people ask, why are batsmen not able to read you? And the spinner was like, if I don't know where I'm going to bowl, how does a batsman know? so really, at this point, you're kind of thinking through some things and all of that. You may not find something which is still interesting, but keep basically going. So, and you may not find any you will want to go down. In that case, of course, you will head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Basically, you keep exploring, keep looking at markets, keep talking to people. One of the things we did was before narrowing down on any idea, one of the advice we got is at least speak to 100 people before writing your first line of code. That we did that. So those 100 interviews really helped tear down, rip apart whatever we were thinking. But at the end of the day, you will still find something. So out there, things can happen and frequently due to people as brainy and footsie as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry. Don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. Don't just get mixed up too much in that exploring thinking phase. Ultimately, it is a leap of faith, right? So you've done your research. You still have lots of ambiguity. You take the leap of faith. Then the launch, the places that you will go, or the demo day presentation and so on, right? So you'll be on your way up. You will be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar the high heights. You won't lag behind because you will have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang, and you will soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you will be the best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top at the rest. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. So a lot of highs initially. Events high was also. So you will build up your team. You will get initial traction. So for us, we got some initial traction. We had some 100K users per month quickly going. We participated in various startup competitions, won lots of prizes. That's how we got off, bootstrapping, because we got a lot of AWS credits, Google Compute credits through that. And then with all of that, with various startup pitches, with various traction changes and all of that, ultimately you will get funding and we raised the funding and so on, right? But this talk is not about all the good things. As it turns out, in an entrepreneur's journey, there are many more lows than highs. Definitely celebrate the highs. So there were various things over here, but what I want to talk about is what you will probably know or you'll probably get into, which is when you don't, right? So, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You will get stuck. Maybe the first thing which you will encounter is product market fit. You're like, my product is not really, why are people not buying? Why are people not engaging enough? Why am I not having repeat customers? Why am I not having high conversions? All these various metrics of product market fit, you will kind of try to understand and why that's not happening, even after you have traction, you have team, you have funding, all of that, right? This is still very important. And you can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on, you'll be left in a lurch. So here again, you're kind of thinking through, you're iterating your product, you're thinking, okay, should I make it mobile app? Should I make a mobile desktop version? What metrics should I focus on? Should I focus on users, conversions, transactions, margins, revenues, and all of that? Of course, getting all of that you will go through. There'll be various metrics that you can probably track. You'll have to think through all of that and go along. Um of course, you'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are that you will be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourselves is not easily done. After all of that, you have seen some growth. What will happen is your growth will plateau. After 1 year, 2 years, whatever, it's going to plateau. You don't know what next to do, and so on. Uh, at that point, there will be further challenges, right? You will come to a place where the streets are not marked, some windows are lighted, but mostly they are dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? So here you will encounter unknowns, right? Things which you're not very good at. You're getting some consumer growth. Now you're looking into organic consumer growth. You're looking into inorganic. Should I do that? How should I ramp up my sales cycle, especially if you're coming from tech background? How do you manage all of that? Your margins might not be as expected. I mean, customers will keep asking for thinner and thinner margins. One interesting thing was, so most of the growth, fortunately, in events was organic. We did try various inorganic experiments. There was a point where we said, okay, we really want to go down the mobile app route, and let's get app downloads going. And we started with campaigns, like some viral campaigns. You download app, share with 5 people, and get something off, whatever. It went viral, and it kind of, we basically from 100,000 downloads we went to kind of 300,000 downloads in 2 days. We had like, I think 6 or 7 rupees per install. I'm like, wow, right? What's going on? But turns out that really like all those people just came for the offer, nobody converted, and we went back to organic growth. Okay, so, and similarly, you'll basically keep going around and around, and then when things are not working out, you'll again get back to your lean startup cycle, where you will have various hypotheses, you will have assumptions, you'll build stuff and all of that, and you'll keep going around the cycle. But that is natural, yeah. And so I'll quickly just finish up. Anyway, I think overall, I would say that ultimately you will say, okay, let me just go for growth, and that's what we did. We kind of went from 100x to 2.5 million users per month. We went for 10x growth in GMV. But ultimately what happened, we realized was that these were all vanity metrics, okay? That's something that after you have done the hard work, you realize that, which will also saturate. You'll just wait. And there is something called a waiting game, where you are now basically doing business as usual, or you're waiting for your next round of funding, and so on, right? But then you'll realize that you'll kind of, you just don't want to wait. So you will realize, okay, let me try different things. So we looked at new verticals, new revenue lines. We went to different verticals, like away from the usual entertainment vertical, like kids, music. We went to kids, we went to sports, we went to classes, workshops. We looked at leads as a revenue line of business, monetizing every lead, and so on. But yeah, the idea is to start differentiating and start thinking in a different direction. Once you do that, of course, your growth will pick up. You will get some kind of fame and all of that, but ultimately that is also short-lived. You will find that there are new business challenges. You have competition catches up. Suddenly, after 1 or 2 years, we had like all the big players coming up in this space. Paytm coming up, ClearTrip coming up, Book My Show even ramping up their events business and all of that. So that leaves team confidence also challenging. And then you will realize lots more challenges, which is like a problem called runway, right? And how do you manage with that? But anyway, I think what will happen is that you will realize that what are the key things which will matter. So we started focusing more on revenue. We started forming partnerships with those bigger players who were basically becoming our competitors. We formed alliances with all those guys. And with that, basically new opportunities came along. So definitely believe in the power of partnerships. And once you know that it's things you have to take in your own hands, you start working towards basically profitability, and you start working towards that. That gives you certain kind of confidence on, okay, how do you basically, somebody asked a question about sustainability, scalability, and so on. You realize how you can make it sustainable. And while you're doing that, while you're talking to partners, you will speak with various people, right? And you'll speak with stranger people, familiar people, and that's how kind of our phase of partnerships and M&A talks came along, where we realized that, okay, competing with bigger players is going to require a bigger player with us as well, hopefully a complementary player and so on. And that's when kind of the whole idea of M&A things came up, and we basically how we kind of merged with Rebo and having a complementary partner who has several hotel chains in 75 plus cities, helping us expand further. And that's really kind of a quick journey. I'm sorry, I ran out of time. But the idea is that you will succeed. There is no way, I mean, when you're starting this, keep that belief in mind. There are so many things that will become challenging, and that's really what I wanted to highlight. When you're beginning, you really don't know about all of these things. But that's really the journey as well, and that's really what success is also all about. And so today is your day. You know, you're going to move mountains, whether it's Events High or Startups Club or Razorpay or even Google. It's your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Thank you. So I think I have a little bit of time for Q&A. No? Okay. Maybe just one or two questions. Yeah.
We'll just be taking that one question, and that will be all due to time constraints. We'll have to keep up to our time. But yes, sir, please proceed with your question.
Yeah. My name is Surendra. It's a very silly question, but then on your slides you said it's 98 and 3/4% success. Why that number?
Sorry, what?
98.75% you'll succeed in one of your slides.
Oh, why the remaining?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like why the one is left out. So when you believe in yourself, it will be 100% success.
Sure. No, I think that's the right way to think about it, right? But of course, I guess you have to be humble enough to.
I'm just curious to know why 98.7.
Sure. I think that's what the book said. Okay. But I think on that note, I would just like to add one point that I think one thing which we realize, and when we all start, right, we do feel that there is so much you know because you're in the business, you know in and out of the business, right? And often there is advice that you ignore. So stay humble, you know, always. I mean, even Jeff Bezos says that, you know, Amazon is going to go bankrupt, right? So why is that? Because it's all about essentially having that, I would say he is still so humble to say that and having that humility to know that you could be wrong. So pause, take a pause, understand, and then kind of move, yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Nikesh. Thank you so much for joining us out here this afternoon and sharing with us your experience. An honor and a pleasure having you with us this afternoon. Thank you, sir.